Hi everybody, welcome back to the Beloved Christmas channel. Tonight we're doing something a little bit different, but then again that's all this channel is something a little bit different. Okay, well, this video is for all of you out there who decorate on a budget. I know I do. It's just about Valentine's Day and I need a decoration for my front door. So I'm going to take my good old Christmas wreath that I use for every holiday, and I'm going to decorate it for Valentine's Day, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it pretty much as I figure out how I'm going to do it, because I just make this up as I go along. So today I picked up 3 different types of ribbon. And I'm going to need at least 1 or 2 small pieces of wire, a pair of pliers. And for this project, I picked up some pink and red peonies, because you don't need a lot to make a pretty cool wreath. So let's get started. Now, to get something like this started, the first thing I'm going to do is pull apart these flowers. Move the wreath to the side. Ooh. Oh, they glued those on. Good. Oh, little tricks everywhere. You know, and it stinks that they did that, because this is a perfectly good ribbon that they've covered in hot glue. Well, I guess we're going to have to give me a minute while I figure this out, huh? Oh, I think I got it. I got it. Alright, there we go. Well, that was completely unnecessary, and I'm going to have to do that again to the pink. So I'm glad I bought extra ribbon, because honestly, if I was really hurting, I would have just thought to use the ribbon on these flowers as the ribbon for, or some of the spare ribbon I have from holidays previous, because I do my best to not throw away ribbon unless it's ripped, because it's generally reusable unless you do something obnoxious like this to it. Okay, so now we've got these. Now we're just going to strip these flowers down to their bare bones for the most part. So I'm just going to clip all this off. Okay, so now we have all these lovely little pink flowers. But like I said, I'm just literally making this up as I go along. We'll find out how this comes out when it's done. Now we want to separate them. Okay, so we've got this pink flower here that's got extra, this pink flower here that has extra, this one here, and these 4 don't. To make the ones that do work for us as we create this thing. And then we have all of this green left over. Now that we've looked at what we have, we can get a sense of where we can move forward from here. And we will start putting our ribbon on. I purchased 3 different ribbons for this. I'm going to start with the big one, and this is the one that we're going to wrap around the wreath. These little containers of ribbon are very pretty. They're on the cheap side, but they really don't have that much on them. So one of these, is pretty much enough to wrap a wreath or make a bow, but almost not do both. But isn't that pretty? I almost didn't get this, honestly. This was a last minute, yeah, I'm gonna do it after all moment. Okay, so now I'm just gonna wrap it around, just like this, and see what I mean? It's not a big piece of ribbon, and that's literally it. It's gonna come to an end just perfectly to fit around this wreath once. These types of wreaths are just 2 pieces of wire with lots of greenery stuck to them, and it's all wire, so it's all bendy. And you can totally do so much with these wreaths. Now, this is the second one like this I have had since I've lived in this apartment, because the first one just fell apart from me doing things like this to it constantly. Alright, so at this point, you can just tie this, and now you have a spot to start your bow. And you can choose where you want your bow at this point, because we're going to start to add our flowers. My plan at this point in time is I'm going to start adding the flowers, and when I not all of them, just a few here in the insides, you'll see what I mean. And then I'm going to build the bow here with whatever flowers are left over. What I'm thinking is I'm going to take one of the greens and stick it on the red. Oh, come on. Oh, you're like that, you little devil. Okay, so I want you to see what I'm looking at. You see, this is just a cap. So what we're going to do with that is, like I said, if you have spare wire, you may need a piece or two. This is where you're going to, now I have 2 pieces of wire. One I'm going to want to save for my bow. I'm actually going to get another one. I keep pieces of scrap wire. This is left over from wire sculptures I have made, jewelry I have made, all sorts of other things I've made out of wire over the years. So I just have little bits of scrap wire I keep to the side when I'm done with projects. If you don't have these, anytime you get anything in, Christmas lights, twist ties from bread bags, anything like that, just keep them to the side, because you never know when you're going to be able to use them for a project just like this one. In fact, bread bag twist ties would be perfect for what I'm about to do. Floral wire will also do. So right now what we're going to do, we're going to take our wire cutters, and we have 5 of these pieces, so I'm just going to cut, like I said, this is where a bread bag twist tie would be perfect. About, was that about an 2-inch length? Yeah, about 2-inch length. 1.5, 2 inch, somewhere in there. And then I'm just going to wrap it once around, give it a twist. Now, if it hurts your fingers, use a pair of pliers to do this. Okay, so just wrap it around so it's nice and tight, and then you can just stick this in there. And that's why I said floral wire could also be a good way to do this if you have the money for such things. If not, just make do with what you got. Hide the wires if you can. And we got some green, and on top of that we're going to stick one of the red flowers. And see, that'll just stick in there. If it's not sticking in there well, all of these greens are made of wire you can wrap. So there it is. That is not going anywhere, those 2. I'm going to add on maybe this one. That one looks pretty. So we'll just stick that in there also. Come on. There you go. And we're just going to continue to do that all around. Now actually at this point in time, I'm going to stop and decide which one I want for my center. Not that it's important, you know, hugely important, but you know, you want to have a pretty flower for your bow. You know what? I think I'm going to go with this one. I know it's a little odd because it's a little crushed, but that's okay, because it's going to have the other flowers with it, and because it's so, my reason for thinking this is because it's smaller than the other blooms in the bunch, it should complement the smallness of the pink peonies without overwhelming it. Alright, so we're just going to make sure that everything that's on here is tight, because especially if you put it in a high traffic area, and I stick this on my front door. My front door's been empty for about 3 weeks, guys. It's sad. It's missing its wreath, so we got to get this done and back up. All right, so let's get this bow made. We've got our beautiful flowers. So I figure the wreath will hang something along the lines of like that. It's going to make such a lovely bow, I think. Anyway, I love ribbon that has wire in it because it holds its shape so nicely for this is I got white and pink. They had this pretty Valentine's Day ribbon that is both the same pattern, just white and pink. Isn't that pretty? As I said before, this tie right here is going to be where my bow is going to sit. And I'm going to find the middle of these. Now, there are so many different ways of making a ribbon, and I'm not great at any of them. But I love to learn, and if you have any ways that you like to make a ribbon, I would love to hear about them. To make bows, I just keep it simple, and I just start making loops like this. Oop. Just like that, little loops. And you gotta make them on both sides because you want to keep it as even as possible. And you can change it up as you're going back and forth. That is a thing. Come on. You just did it for me a second ago. Do it for me again. Now we're going to squeeze the middle and get our wire. Excuse me, it's not your turn yet. And we're just going to wrap this around the center. Twist. Now our bow is ready to go on. I said this was all about hiding the wires. Tighten that a little bit. Now this is nice and long, so I'm going to use this in the middle to hide my wires. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the bow, and I'm attaching it to the lower section of the wreath, and I'm twisting it in place. And then from there, because I don't want this to fall off when my door slams. I have teenagers. I'm just going to tuck the small one from the bottom up and tuck it back behind. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to bring it around and tuck it back behind the original knot. So there is our ribbon in place, and we're just going to add the rest of our flowers. It's okay to take it apart and fiddle with it. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making it up as I go along. That's how I do it every time. In a few weeks, we'll be taking this apart and either doing a St. Patrick's Day or an Easter with it, depending on how fast I get to these things and when Easter falls this year. Is that early or late this year? I don't even know. You should tell me. And there you have it. I have turned my Christmas wreath into a Valentine's Day wreath for my front door.